I think it was Penn State they played after that. They get that win. They carry it over to a win against Michigan. They win tonight 71-65. The Stars played well. Derek Queen held his own inside with the big guys, and the big guys did what they had to do. They both had 20 points, but Derek Queen had 17 points, 12 rebounds. I'm guessing based on your reaction, something insane just happened in the basketball game. But CJ, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on Maryland's win and the way they've responded since the heartbreak against Sparty.
Ole Miss is going to be paying some fines. Got a little mini court storm going on.
Little court storm, oh yeah.
Little court storm going on. I thought that it was big win by Maryland tonight to go into Michigan. I know Michigan's kind of struggling going through it right now, but to win on that Michigan's home floor is a big victory. I thought it was impressive. Selton Miguel was awesome. Hit some really huge shots. Derek Queen was good again, and I just think this Maryland team don't have much of a bench, but man, that Crab Five is pretty darn good. And I did think Michigan a little bit lost this game with the way turning the ball over continues to just be issue for them. Like some of the turnovers in a row, like possession after possession, like 3-4 possessions in a row, they had stretches where they were turning it over, and just careless, like unforced stuff. You think at some point, I mean, we're in March, that they would figure it out, but they've had a great season, 14-5, and Dusty May's first season in the Big Ten is like really good. But it's just crazy to watch a really good team turn the ball over so often.
It is. They are really good, and Dusty May has been getting a lot of credit, and deservedly so, for the job that he's done at Michigan. And he was getting linked to the Indiana job for good reason because of his ties and his success and all of that. But you just mentioned it. I mean, they got doubled up when it came to turnovers. I think they had 16-8 when it came to giveaways, and like you mentioned, they would kind of happen in a row, and it would just lead to a series of bleeds that were hard to stop for the Michigan Wolverines. It eventually led to a loss. As much as we herald Dusty May, John, I mean, that's coaching, is it not? When you're doing sloppy, dumb stuff that's avoidable.
Yeah, they didn't play well. They haven't been playing well lately, which is not good leading into the tournament. But credit to Maryland coming in and winning the game. That they didn't necessarily have to play particularly well either. What worries me is, well, I'll tell you this. Me and my boy, we have a game. It's take a shot every time someone on Maryland's bench scores. We've been sober for 10 days. So they've got to figure out their bench. I mean, the first time the guy scored in three games, so they're not going to be able to sustain that in a tournament. Someone will get into foul trouble. Someone will have to sit out for a long period of time within these next 2 weeks. And if they don't have a guy to bench that can at least fill in admirably, you're gonna lose. So that's my only concern with Maryland. They have one of the best starting fives in the country, right? These dudes are animals, bro. They're playing almost 40 minutes each. So, credit to Maryland today. I mean, they didn't shoot the ball fairly well. They didn't, set the road on fire, but Michigan turns the ball over. And that was kind of the story of the game right there. And down the stretch, when you have a big man also handling the ball so much too as well, I think that also is weird too. That can lead to a lot of turnovers and things like that. Just not having a main ball handler. And you saw that today.
John, I got a question for you.
A little awkward. Go ahead, CJ.
In the NCAA tournament, like the TV timeouts are so long. Can you get away a little bit without having a bench, like in that setting, because the breaks are so long and I do think it's important to have one or two guys that you can go to off the bench, but like in those games, what do you remember as far as like, man, I'm pretty rested after these media timeouts? Like, do you feel like you can play 35, 38 minutes in those games?
Yes and no, because I'm more so concerned that Selton Miguel is going to struggle in the game, right? Or Rodney
Yeah.
Rice is going to suck, or Queen's going to get into foul trouble and he can't play his full minutes, and your drop off is just so massive. And when you look at the tournament, some of the best teams like UConn last year, Purdue, I'm not saying guys came off the bench and set the world on fire, but they had solid 7-ish man rotations, and so they could kind of get away with someone getting into foul trouble, or they could survive. If this Maryland team, all 5 guys aren't clicking on all cylinders for the next 3 weeks, they're going to lose. And basketball doesn't work like that. I mean, someone's going to have a rough night, and you got to look at the bench and say, "Hey, can you come in and can you save us?" Right? And Maryland unfortunately can't do that. Neither can Michigan, though. So they got it's pretty interesting. So, but definitely the timeouts are great. You can play 40 minutes, but the game situation might not allow you to play that much. So it's going to be interesting to see them down the stretch when they have to go to the bench or something happens. That could be their downfall.